Hi, thank you for watching my channel today. My name's Sarah and my channel is called Your True Shelf. It's been quite a while since I've been able to record anything, just because I've been really busy. But today I'm excited to record this. This is my video about the Reading Women's Challenge 2020. So the Reading Women's Challenge is a challenge which goes on for the whole of 2020, or the whole year. They do one every year, and it's hosted by Kendra and Autumn from the Reading Women podcast. They make up a list of prompts. There are, 6, 12, oh gosh, we'll go through them. There's about 20 or so prompts, and so you have a whole year to do it, like I just said. They've got a group on Goodreads where they help you with each prompt if you're stuck with any of them, and people put up their suggestions, and it's really fun. So last year I wanted to do it, and it was really slack, and I kind of made a TBR and then just basically kind of ignored it, and then occasionally I'd go through and have a look if any of the books I'd read could fit it. So I didn't do it properly really. And then this year my friend Hannah said, do I want to do it with her, and then we can discuss the books, and I definitely wanted to do that. So we decided we were going to do it, and then yesterday we met up at her house, and we went through all of the prompts, and we thought about what books we could use for all of them. It was really fun. So because we were at her house, I couldn't visualise all my books, and I don't think my Goodreads TBR is that up to date. So a few of them are different because I can actually see what books I've got now. Waffle, let's get on with it. So I haven't got prompts for all of the books. No, I haven't got books for all of the prompts. So some of them I will have to resort to the library for. I'm also sitting on the floor because I've got so many books all around me that I couldn't keep bending up and down from a chair. So I'm sitting on the floor. I fidget a lot when I'm on the floor, so sorry about that. So, right, without further ado, prompt number 1 is to read an author from the Caribbean or India. So for this, I have 3 options, all from India. Option 1 is a book which is very famous on BookTube and which has had a lot of praise. That is When I Hit You by Meena Kandasamy, which is a woman's account of her relationship in domestic violence. And Meena Kandasamy is from India. That one. I won't talk about that one too much because, sorry, I'm going to fidget again, because everybody is pretty familiar with that one. So the next one is one I got from when I had a book subscription gifted to me. I'm not even sure what it's about, so I'll read the blurb. But I love the cover, it's so beautiful, and it's called Folded Earth by Anuradha Roy. And so the back says, a young woman makes a new life for herself in a tiny town in the foothills of the Himalayas. Struggling to leave a private tragedy behind, the newly widowed mayor abandons herself to the town's peaceful rhythms, befriending a lovesick peasant girl, Charu, and her eccentric landlord, Divan Sahib. He holds vulnerable secrets from India's past. So it sounds really good, and like I say, I love the cover. And then the third one, which was also from the book subscription, and I also don't really know what it's about, is this one, which is The Private Lives of Mrs. Sharma by Ritika Kapoor. This one is about Renuka Sharma is a dutiful wife, mother and daughter-in-law holding the fort in a modest rental in Delhi while her husband tries to rack up savings in Dubai. Working as a receptionist and committed to finding a place for her family in the new Indian dream of air-conditioned malls and high-paid jobs at multinationals, life is going as planned until the day she strikes up a conversation with an uncommonly self-possessed stranger at a metro station. Because while Mrs. Sharma may espouse traditional values, India is changing all around her, and it wouldn't be the end of the world if she came out of her shell a little, would it? So that sounds really awesome as well. I love Indian books, so I have 3 great sounding ones to choose from for prompt number 1. Prompt number 2 is translated from an Asian language. So I'm currently reading one that's translated from an Asian language, but there's also another prompt coming up, a book that is set in or translated from Japanese. So this could fit either one of those, so I'm not sure which one I'm going to use it for. But it is Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami. So this book I am reading at the moment, and I found it in a library when I was just browsing the other day, and picked it up because I knew it would fit one of those prompts. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's about a girl called Sakiko, and she comes across one of her old teachers, who she calls Sensei, and they end up like just going to a bar together, and this friendship blossoms between them, and it's about the friendship, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm over halfway through, and hopefully I'm going to finish it this weekend. So that's that one I've already done. The next one is a book about the environment. So I am one of the only people on the planet who hasn't read this book, Nobody is Too Small to Make a Difference, by Greta Thunberg. So my friend Heather over at Soggy Expat Booknerd posted me this lovely parcel of books out of the blue, just because she's so kind, and I got that yesterday, and this was one of the books that she posted me, and so yeah, I'm going to read this one about the environment. So next one is a picture book by a BIPOC author. So that one I haven't. So it literally means children's picture book. It doesn't mean graphic novel. So I looked through all the children's picture books we have from the library at the moment. I couldn't see any by BIPOC authors. So when I go to the library next with the children, I will make sure that we pick one up, and that I will be able to then achieve that prompt. Next one is one which I've already done. Just trying to see the book. Here we go. So the next one is a Women's Prize or Stella Prize winner, and I had loads of Women's Prize winners, and I chose this one, which is Property by Valerie Martin. This one I finished this month, and I gave it 3 stars. It's basically set in America during the slave times, and it follows a woman who's the wife of a plantation owner who really hates her husband, and the husband is having an affair and having children with one of the slaves who is her own personal slave. Yeah, so she's in this really unhappy relationship. Her husband's mistress is her slave, and it's got lots of things about slaves who've been escaping, and how the men of the plantations like do these terrible things to them to try and get them back. It's quite so the main character is very selfish, very self-absorbed, very vile, and I know that's supposed to be the case, but it really kind of put me off the book, and I would much rather have read this from the slaves' point of view, not from the plantation owners. And so I thought it was good, but I didn't love it, so I gave it 3 stars. Right, next one is non-fiction by a women historian. So I don't have any like actual sort of people whose job it is to be a historian, but the book that I chose for this one is a historical non-fiction, so I think that counts, and that is Testament of Youth by Vera Brittain. So I've seen the film of this and I really loved it. It's a massive book. It's probably like, God, how many pages is it? 660, so it's probably going to take me the whole month to read just this. But Vera Brittain was a promising young student who wanted to go to Oxford, and she just got into Oxford, and then war broke out in 1914, and she ended up giving up her place to become a nurse on the front line, basically. And so this is her account of what it was like, and so this is her. I think I'm not sure if it's diaries. Let me see. No, I don't think it's written as diaries. It's her autobiography that she's written, and I think there may be some following on volumes. I'm not sure, but I wanted to read this for ages, and so this is a good opportunity for me to read that one. So the next prompt is one that I haven't got a book for as yet. So it's Afrofuturism or African Futurism. So it's basically books set in the future or imagining the future from a black point of view. So like, well, the one that obviously springs to mind is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, but I already read that and I didn't really enjoy it that much, so I don't really want to read the next book in the series. Or I thought about Kindred by Octavia E. Butler, but I've already read that one, so I'm going to have to do a bit more research into that prompt and and to find something from the library for that one. Next, another one that I don't have is an anthology by multiple authors. So for this one, I don't have any anthologies. That's the kind of thing I tend to buy from the library. I've got some essay collections and things, but they're all from the same author, not from different authors. Next is inspired by folklore, and it makes it quite clear it's folklore, not mythology. So again, this is one I'm using from the books that Heather sent me. And this is this book here, which I'd never heard of, called Two Old Women, An Alaskan Legend of Betrayal, Courage and Survival by Velma Wallace. And it says this is based on Athabascan Indian legend passed along for many generations from mothers to daughters of the upper Yukon River Valley in Alaska. And it says it's a suspenseful, shocking, ultimately inspirational tale of two old women abandoned by their tribe during a brutal winter famine. So that sounds perfect for this, because I don't think I would have had anything necessarily to fit that prompt otherwise. Okay, next is about, if you can hear a little noise, it's just my little girl playing with her toys. So the next one is about a woman artist. So for that one, it has to be a visual artist, because I thought, could it be a writer or something, but it has to be a visual artist. And this is a book that I've just mentioned quite recently and that I plan to read over the whole of the year. And that is The Wild Remedy by Emma Mitchell. So Emma Mitchell is a woman who suffers with depression, and her work is to study nature and to draw and create things based on what she finds to help her with her depression. So like there's some lovely photography in this book, and there's also some really lovely hand-drawn pictures and paintings like that. And I'm going to read every month. I'm going to read a month of the book so that it takes me the year to read. So the book actually starts in October, but I'm going to start in January and then obviously, you know, work that way around. I don't think that matters too much, I hope. Anyhow, either that or I'll read October, November, December, January this month. Anyway, I'll decide. I'll have a look at it in more detail and decide. But that's my woman artist. Next is read and watch a book to movie adaptation. So I really like this one. I wanted to do it from the books that I already have, and I've got loads of books that have been adapted into films, but I've either already watched the film or read the book, which is annoying. So the only one I think I have, which I haven't watched the film or read the book, is Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier. This one, Simon from Savage Reads has talked about as one of his favourite books of the year, and it's kind of spurred me on to read it. So, and this is a signed copy because I saw her at Literary Festival, so yeah, so she has signed my copy, which is nice. So yeah, so that one is what I've chosen for a book to film adaptation. Right, where are we next? About a woman who inspires you. So for this one, I've got 3 choices. So choice number 1 is Breaking and Mending by Joanna Cannon. So the reason this one is a woman that inspires me is Joanna Cannon is a doctor who was struggling with her career choice, and she got out and she became a writer, and I find that very inspiring. So that's why I chose this one. Excuse me. The second one is an actress who I really love her work, and this book sounds really inspirational, and this is After You by Natasha McElhone. So she here is an actress, and while she was pregnant with her 3rd child, her husband died of a heart attack, and so she's had to turn, so she's now a single mum to 3 boys, and this is her letters to her husband that she wrote after he died. And so I find her inspirational anyhow, but then I'm sure this book is also going to be really inspiring. And then the third one I chose is this one called Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani. So Anita Moorjani had stage 4 cancer, and she was dying from the cancer, and then she had a near-death experience, and then the cancer started to disappear. This is a memoir, and so yeah, I just think this sounds like a really inspiring story and really, really interesting as well. So that's that one. And then I've got another one which I haven't got anything for, I don't think, and that is by an Arab woman. So I don't believe I've got any books by Arab women. So if anyone can recommend anything to me, that would be really helpful. The next one is Set in Japan or by a Japanese author, which I've already discussed. Strange Weather in Tokyo, which I could use for that prompt. I haven't got any others that I can use for that prompt. Next is a biography. So I've got 2 to choose from here. The first one is Amy Poehler's biography called Yes Please, and this is so Amy Poehler is an actress, and she's really funny, and this looks really amusing. It's got lots of pictures and in it, and it's also got some quite funny chapter headings as well, which is good. And this looks like a really good feminist autobiography. So yeah, that one looks cool. And then the second one is Never Broken by Jewel. So Jewel is a singer-songwriter and poetry writer. I've been aware of her probably for about 20 years, 15 to 20 years, and I really like her music, and this is her memoir. So I think this is going to be really lovely to read as well. Right, next is featuring a woman with a disability. 2 options for this one. Option 1 is The Lacuna by Barbara Kingsolver, because featured in this book is Frida Kahlo, who obviously had a disability, which had her back fractures, and so I thought I could use this one. And the second one is The Memory Keeper's Daughter by Kim Edwards. So this is about twins who were born, and one of them is born with Down syndrome, the girl twin, and the dad, is it the dad or the doctor? The dad, who is the doctor, delivers them, and he pretends that the little girl with Down syndrome dies at birth, and he gives her away to an institution. I think it's going to be pretty heartbreaking, but that one I thought would be the other one I could use. And right, next, over 500 pages. Oh, I think I actually didn't pick one. I think I looked at a few options and then didn't pick one. Oh no, hold on, I tell a lie, I did, I just couldn't see them on the floor. I've got 2 options for this as well. The first one is a reread of a whole series that I want to reread, and that is The Clan of the Cave Bear by Jean M. Au. This is about, this is set in prehistoric times, which is the only book I've ever read set in that time period, and it's really fascinating. And I read this when I was in junior school, so I was 11, the first one, and I think I haven't ever read the last one. I think there's 7 or 8 in the series, and I really want to get the whole set in the same edition. This was bugging me. I've got currently 3 of them. 2 of them are in the same edition, 1 of them is not. Anyhow, so this is about a girl called Ayla, who is I think it's a Cro-Magnon, I think. But anyway, so she, I may have got that completely wrong because I'm not very good at those details. Anyway, when she's a little girl, there's a big earthquake and her family dies, and she's separated from her people, and she is taken in by the clan of the Cave Bear, and she's raised by them and taught by them, and it's basically about that, the first part of her life, and I absolutely loved it so much when I was younger, and so I'm really hoping that I still love it so much on a reread. My other option is A God in Ruins by Kate Atkinson. I'm currently listening to, again, Life After Life, which is actually, I think it's going to make my favourite book of all time list. I've listened to it before and I'm listening to it again, and I'm absolutely loving it. And this is a companion piece, so this is one of the reasons I'm re-listening to Life After Life, because A God in Ruins is from her the main character's brother Teddy's point of view, and I'm really looking forward to reading this year as well. And yes, no, sorry, going to say something else. No, ignore. Right, the next one is under 100 pages, so I have 3 options. all sent to me by other people. So 2 of them were sent to me by Heather in her little book bundle for me yesterday, and 1 of them was sent by Charlie from Charlie Brook, her channel. I will link all these channels in the description box. So the one sent to me by Charlie is this little Faber story, which is how many pages? 67 pages, and this is called The Forester's Daughter, and it's about it's set in the countryside with a farming family, and there's a gun dog which is given to one of the daughters as a present, and then it says it sort of makes long lost family secrets emerge. This one Heather sent me is Homeland by Barbara Kingsolver, so it's from the same Faber Stories collection, and this is only 40 pages. This one is when Gloria's great-grandmother Greenleaf left her home in the Hiwassee Valley of Tennessee. It was with a man on a stolen horse. She was one of the fugitive bands of Cherokee who'd resisted capture long ago. Decades later, her family takes Great Mam on a road trip home, but the place that holds the scattered bones of her ancestors is no longer the land she remembers. Sounds awesome. And then the last one is this little tiny pretty book, The Wind of the Small Isles by Mary Stewart, who wrote Thornyhold, which I read last year. So this is set in Lanzarote in 1879. A young woman elopes with an impoverished fisherman and vanishes from home in Lanzarote, never to be heard from again. And then nearly a century later, there's a secretary to a famous author who starts researching this on a trip and falls under a spell. So that sounds cool as well. Right. Next, a book that is frequently recommended to you. I have 2. Right, so the first one is one that I saw Lauren from Lauren and the Books recommend lots of times last year, and I bought it in hardback because I wanted to read it so much, and I haven't read it yet, and that is Almost Love by Louise O'Neill. This is, I believe, a woman about who's having an affair with a man who's treating her quite badly, and it's about their sort of obsession of their relationship. And the next one is Daisy Jones and the Six, which virtually everyone's read apart from me, and I definitely think that can count as a book that's been recommended a lot. A feel-good / happy book. Right, I have 2 options. So the first one is what it says on the tin, Happy by Fern Cotton. Love Fern Cotton. This is non-fiction. It's got a mixture of exercises and text in here and drawings and things, and it's also signed by her, and I think this will be really helpful for me, and I've had it for ages. I pre-ordered it and I still haven't read it yet, and she's got other ones that have come out since then, so I need to get my skates on. And the other one is like a fiction book called A Summer at the Sea by Katie Ford. Katie Ford is one of my favourite authors because she makes me feel so cheerful. She writes sort of light-hearted romances, and every time I read one of her books, if I'm having a struggle with something, it makes me just feel so happy, and so that is definitely an uplifting read for me. Right. A book about food. I don't have any. So I have, but I've already read them. So I need recommendations. If anyone's got a recommendation for a book about food, that would be good. By a favourite or new to you publisher. So I could have easily picked any book off my shelf, really, because obviously there's lots of publishers that are favourites, like Vintage, Penguin, that kind of thing. But I thought I'd try and pick a publisher that I don't think I've ever read before. I can't guarantee I have, but I don't think I have. And this is Serpent's Tail Publishing, which is an imprint of Profile Books. I don't think I've read anything from that publisher. I may be wrong, but this is a book I've wanted to read for ages, and this is Washington Black by Essie Adukian. This was listed for the Man Booker Prize, and I think the Women's Prize for Fiction last 2018. And this is about, I believe, a slave who on a sugar plantation in Barbados, who is the personal servant to an explorer, and I think it goes on from there, and I think this sounds awesome. I've wanted to read it for ages. Got it in hardback again because I was really excited about it. Right, we've got 2 more categories to go. by an LGBTQ plus author. Lots of options here, but I've got one out from the library at the moment, and so this is going to be one of my soonish reads, and so I chose this one, and that is The Gender Games by Juno Dawson. So essays about gender, which I'm really interested in. Obviously Juno Dawson is a trans woman, so that is the one I'm going to use for that. And then the last one was from the 2019 Reading Women Awards shortlist. I didn't have any of the books, so I chose one that I would like the most and ordered it from the library already. And that is called, I can't remember the exact title or the author, which is not helpful. I'll put a picture up. But I saw Mercedes talk about it, and it really appealed to me. I added it to my wish list, and then when I saw it was one of the options for this challenge, I decided to pre-order it from the library. Well, I ordered it from the library. They already have it in one of the libraries in Norwich, and I'm having it brought to my local library. It sounds really interesting. It's a memoir of a girl who is biracial and queer and living in Florida and in a very privileged life, and it's about sort of contrasts between privilege and poverty and prejudice and things, I believe, and it sounds really good, so I'm looking forward to that one. And then there's 2 bonus points. One, if there's 2 bonus authors, a book by Toni Morrison and a book by Isabel Allende. They're both authors that I've read already, but I haven't got any books on my TBR by either of them, so if I come across any, I will endeavour to read those as well. So this has been a super long video. It's probably my longest ever video, but I had so much fun, like choosing stuff for the prompts, and I'm going to keep a note of everything I chose so that I don't just forget about them. I know I won't, because I'm doing it with Hannah, and that's why it will spur me on to you know, to keep thinking about my next challenges. They may change. It may be that I end up doing a buddy read with someone that will fit into one of the characters, or I get a new book that will fit into one of the characters. Prompts. But yeah, so let me know your thoughts. If you made it to the end of this video, well done. Let me know if you're taking part, or if you're planning on taking part now. Let me know if you can think of any prompts for the ones that I'm stuck with, any books for the prompts I'm stuck with. So I'm hungry, my brain's not working too well. And let me know if you've got thoughts about any of the books I mentioned, and happy reading. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.